Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 266.
266.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. We're going to be talking all about Disneyland's PIXARFEST, as well as Walt Disney World and Loews Hotels over at Universal Orlando. MEI Travel specializes in all of that and so much more.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, if you're looking for Adventures by Disney, itineraries for 2019 have been announced, including for Japan for the first time. And you can check MEI Travel out for that as well.
That's right. Go to their website and get a free quote and also sign up for the newsletter.
And now we're heading to Disney California Adventure. Last week we talked about PixarFest at Disneyland. And this week we are talking about here over at DCA. And you can see the Incredibles. Mr. Incredible and Frozone are holding up the Pixar ball at the entrance.
You know, I think PixarFest is really even more so at California Adventure than Disneyland. So, I mean, both are very good elements.
Yes. I mean, you have Pixar Pier going in over at Disney California Adventure, so it really makes it more of a place to go for this.
And I bought that shirt. Here are some of the merchandise.
Right. And I mean, to me, it's a fair bit of merchandise. For something that's 5.5 months, to me, it's almost a moderate amount, but it's a nice selection of items. I think we got a Tervis mug. We didn't buy a lot, but a Tervis mug, a claw.
Pass holder Tervis mug, which quickly sold out.
Yeah, I don't know if that will end up coming. They told you that it won't come back, but we'll see what happens. And I know you got a shirt.
Well, I got a shirt for Curious Axel, not for me.
And then also there is a claw. Okay, this is going to be at the Toy Story Land in Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Right.
This claw sipper mug.
Sippy cup.
Yes. And so that's a lot of fun.
Very popular.
It is really popular. They were flying off the shelves.
We literally watched them unpacking them, and as they were putting on the shelves, arms were coming and taking 2, 3, 4 at a time.
Right, because everybody wanted them. But I think eventually they had like thousands, so It was a little bit easier for them to keep them in stock.
This absolute highlight, and we didn't even notice it the first day. We were running around so much on the first day, I believe the 13th of PixarFest. So the next time we went back, we saw this, and this was wonderful.
Well, you see Buzz and Woody here, and we didn't know this was coming. I think this was a surprise to pretty much everybody. Buzz and Woody as cars, from Cars, and you see Woody is a Woody vehicle,
right?
Which is really
I just love that.
Even more fun. And so you can see like the what would it be called that he would wear a badge? That's on
his
on the
cowboy,
tires.
His full cowboy outfit, and the whole space outfit too.
So there's just a lot of details, and what's really interesting is some other posters were replaced by these ones, including it says Toy Car Story. This is the first one, and it has Buzz and Woody, as you can see them there. But then you have Mike and Sully and Fueling Nemo. They're all takeoffs, obviously, on kind of Cars related, but different movies.
Right. Once again, Cars Land shines for it's not really a holiday, but for a season anyway. So I thought that was very, very good.
Well, for Halloween, it was
extra
good.
Awesome.
This was just a little something, little bonus in there.
Speaking of good, this was another one of my favorite areas, the Pixar Pals. And of course, we love the characters. But before we're going to get into the characters, they had this awesome band.
Right. Paradise Gardens is a setting for the Pixar Pals. And it includes the Pixarmonic Orchestra. I think that's how you would say it. And they put on shows a number of times each day. I'm not sure if it's every day, but I believe it is. And they were a lot of fun. The shows didn't change really from show to show. I don't know if that will change.
I think they were exactly the same. It was all Pixar music, but it's just fun, enjoyable. Because we met the characters so many days in a row, we would hear it in the background. And if you listen to the videos that we're posting, you can hear the band playing in the background as well.
And you'll hear "You've Got a Friend in Me" a lot.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Mm-hmm. So
that seems to be the official theme song of this whole celebration.
So here are Mr. and Mrs. Incredible. There were 5 different character duos who met while we were there. We went a number of different days, and over a 2-day period, we could have met all of the different character duos, but they will not tell you. They don't say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Incredible are next. They'll say, you're going to meet Pixar Pals. We don't know who's coming out. So you just kind of wait and see who's coming out.
Right. Well, it took us 3 separate days to meet them all because of the way they did the switch over. And here comes Mike and Sully, which were awesome.
Was it? It was 3. And for some reason, I thought it was 2. But Mike and Sully were together. And we'll see also, we'll mention Jesse's a walk-around character. So we met 11 characters total. I don't know if there'll be more when Pixar Pier opens. That is June 23rd, and Pixar Fest goes till September 3rd.
So I'll tell you how it's done. About every half hour, they switch the duos, and there's 3 different ones a day. I think you mentioned that. But the only ones that were the same all the days that we were there were Woody and
Buzz.
Woody and Buzz, right?
Well,
Woody and Buzz were the consistent ones. Like these guys weren't there one of the other days, and then the Up characters came a different day. So
Well, on the 13th, we actually saw Buzz and Jessie.
Right, and normally Jessie is just roaming. She's a roaming character, so I believe she was a stand-in that day. They said something about Woody had some important business to attend to, so he couldn't make it.
But it was interesting to see them together. I could expect Jessie with Woody, but not as much Jessie with Buzz. So it was just, to me, an interesting combination.
Right. Maybe she is sort of that's why she is roaming around. She'll be a stand-in if somebody can't make the meet and greet. And there she is now doing the roaming, which is, in some ways, it's difficult to meet them when they're roaming because they really don't line up for pictures. You don't have as much time as when you wait in line to see them.
But you know what? In other ways, I really like the roaming characters, and you'll see a lot of those at Disneyland. Just standing in Fantasyland, you'll see like 1,000 roaming characters. Not 1,000,
right.
but a lot.
A lot.
So it's really fun to kind of, at least get to see them close up.
And here is Mr. Buzz Lightyear, and here is Woody now. Woody, very tall in real life, by the way.
And I was going to say, I don't think she's there to sub, because
it's
joking.
Not
like, Jessie and Ada. Like, you're not going to see Jessie and Ada.
Oh, you never know.
No, I don't think so.
They do not guarantee any particular character.
Mr. Incredible and Jessie, that's not going to happen.
It is difficult if for us, when we started to, we wanted to record them all, and as we got more and more of them done, and you had to time your place in line, they didn't really like you to sort of wait and let people go by, although they did let us on a couple of occasions.
The cast members were very, very, very nice there. So, it's just that you sort of do have to time it, and you kind of get an idea, especially if you've been around a little bit there, who's going to come out and approximately when. But you really need to put in some time, and we actually had many days to put in the time.
And here is Flick and Ada, and they were almost the last duo that we got, and they were excellent, by the way. I hadn't met them together in quite some time, so this was a lot of fun.
Well, we don't see Flick and Ada together too often. We have seen them maybe a year or two. No, Ada
at
was
Disney's Animal Kingdom, just Ada.
Just Ada was by herself, and it was a really long line. And these are fairly long lines, but we probably waited a half hour or so each time. It wasn't bad.
Oh yeah, well worth it. Nicely shaded, and it's not like here in Walt Disney World in Florida where the waits are hours and hours long. The most we probably waited there was a half an hour at the very most.
Well, that's what I just said,
right.
About a half hour. Some people do wait for the next set of characters, so then your wait for who you're waiting for can be much quicker, so you just never know. But here is Flick. He's and they're
and let's explain why they're doing this. We ran into our friend who loves to take pictures of characters, and he wanted them to do individual pictures. So
right.
We kind of sort of just enjoyed that bonus video time.
Right. I thought that was really nice. He had been behind us. And here there's Russell and Doug. You don't always see Russell and Doug together. A lot of times when we've seen them, it's Russell and Carl.
I love how the attendant threw the ball for Doug to go and chase after. So
I
that
totally
was very
missed
funny.
it.
Yeah, sometimes the exits and entrances are the most fun of the whole meet. So that's something I recommend. Usually you'll hold my place in line and I'll run out so I can get them coming in and going out.
Well, even if, let's say you don't want to meet them, at least you can kind of wait and get a few pictures as they're coming and going. And I totally agree with that. I've always enjoyed kind of when the characters are, coming out for the first time or leaving, they usually are a lot of fun.
Yeah, so this was definitely a highlight for me. And you never know, like you said earlier, there could be other duos to come later on in Pixar Fest. But as far as our own experience, we met a total of 11 characters. And here comes Doug now on his way back. And there's Russell. I love Russell's walking technique there.
I hadn't even seen that before. And also, I was going to mention, I don't know, even if they have other characters for the Pixar Pier, which is coming so soon,
right?
That doesn't mean they'll meet here. Like the Green Army Men, you can find the Green Army Men who do a little show on, I don't even know what they're calling it now. The sort of like the Paradise Pier. We're kind of in between Paradise Pier and Pixar Pier right now.
Right.
And I'm not sure that it's called either yet.
And I'm not sure if they were meeting. I think they were just doing their show and leaving on a little float. So I don't think you could have met them. At least I did not have an opportunity to meet them on this trip.
And the interesting thing also is that they keep opening stuff on Pixar Pier. Like they just did the adorable snowman cones. And I wish that had opened while we were there. That would have been fun.
Well, speaking of treats, though, we did try this yummy treat right here.
Right. This is over at Schmoozie's, and it's the Mike Wazowski whoopie pie. And then it has a big scoop of birthday cake ice cream.
Right up there with the alien macaron for me.
Really? I mean, this was probably around third or fourth of the items that we tried. For me, I like the ice cream better. Like, I would take that top off, which we did for photos, and I would like walk around with it. Like, that's probably what I would do. I didn't like the whoopie pie part as much, but I really like the ice cream.
So this might be the absolute highlight of all of Pixar Fest, and of course it is the Paint the Night Parade, making its very first, this is the very, very first ever appearance at Disney California Adventure. And we lined up maybe 2.5 hours early. This was the soft opening night, and I think we had a fine spot.
But if we had gone to Paradise Gardens, we probably could have done like a half hour early, we did on the second time we saw it. And I just want to mention, even though, I mean, this is part of Pixar Fest, but it isn't all Pixar.
Right.
So I think Paint the Night would have returned either way, but it was nice to have it on, April 13th. This is really my favorite parade that I have seen in person. And I'm just so glad that it's back. I think it's been almost a year and a half or so since the last time we saw it.
Yeah, we went and made a special trip. We actually made a special trip to Disneyland to see it because we heard it was going to close. That was right before Christmas a couple years ago.
So it was really, if you haven't seen Paint the Night in person, it's such a fantastic parade with the music and everything. So this is the Tinkerbell float, and it's 40 feet long, includes video screens, and has more than 850,000 points of light. Which is amazing. It has actually more than 1 million sources of light throughout the whole parade.
It's fantastic. And of course we saw Peter Pan up there. And I like these guys too. These guys have been around for a long time. I think we saw them on the Disney Dream cruise ship inauguration. They actually brought them out to Florida for that. And then of course they were there for the original show. What's the World of Color? They were actually
the ones?
They used to be the entertainment for World of Color.
I didn't realize they were the same ones, but those are some of my favorites in the parade. And we have the Monsters Inc. float. It's 21 feet long and 11 feet wide, and these animated doors were created in conjunction with Pixar Animation
You
Studios.
Are so prepared. I feel like we're doing the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
I know, that's how I felt when I was writing everything down, and it's really interesting. Like Mack is the biggest. I don't want to call him a float, but the biggest piece in here.
Well, look how close the top of Mack comes to the wires. They're actually wires for the trolley, and you'll see that better when we see Mack a little closer.
And you see Lightning McQueen here. So at Disney California Adventure, this parade had been over at Disneyland, and I just want to mention these remind me of Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells, like in the Totally Tomorrowland Christmas for some reason. So Mack is, I think, is 54 feet long. He is the biggest part of this parade, and they had to, I think, move the wires. They had to change a few things for the parade because they moved it from Disneyland to Disney California Adventure, and there's a trolley over here. Which I really enjoy. And we didn't even do it this time, so we have to go back now.
Yes, we have to go
just
back.
to ride the trolley.
Absolutely. There's DJ.
Yes, and so anyway, they've changed a few things. Not a lot. Like the Frozen float isn't here. It was really too tall to be going down the streets, but most of the rest of it actually remained pretty much the same.
Sorcerer Mickey was very close. I enjoyed, because of where we were, it was fun to see just how close the top of the floats were to the wires. But then again, the second time we saw the parade, way at the beginning, I guess you would call it at the Pixar Pier kickoff, or the Pixar Pals area is really what it is. There was almost no wait. You could show up 15 minutes before parade time on a Saturday and still see the parade. So that's something to think about.
I recommend that because you have to walk much farther out of the way to get there, and most people did not do that. And we talked to somebody, and he said he'd been there every day, and it had not been a problem for him to get a spot.
Right.
King Triton, we just saw, 12 feet tall, and the float is 32 feet long, which is amazing to me 12 feet tall, and there is Jessie. these are some of the harder photos for me to get because you can get the lights easy, but to get like Jessie's face it's not too much illuminated
Well,
at
she
all.
moves so fast. They are dancing and moving, like the floats are much slower moving.
So the Toy Story float here, you have Slinky Dog, who is 32 feet long, and his ears are 18 feet, which is hard to believe, and 11 feet across. And then you have Woody here, and you see an alien, but Buzz is on the other side for, the other side of the street guests.
This Slinky Dog gets around. He will be a roller coaster here at Disney's Hollywood Studios in just a few months.
But the Toy Story aliens also have been, are such a big part of Disneyland, Disney California Adventure, and also here with the alien swirling saucers.
I think we're going to see some princesses now.
Right? Beauty and the Beast. Belle's video screen has more than 500,000 pixels. And
look at that rose. That is one big rose.
It's beautiful. The float is 26 feet long and the rose is 17 feet tall, which is really amazing to me.
And there is Rapunzel, and I think I see Cinderella in the background as well.
Right. You've got several princesses here, and it's nice to have a little bit of a princess, addition to the
Disney,
parade.
a little classic Disney thrown in.
It's a combination of different characters. Even, for classic Disney, you also have Donald Duck, Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse, at the end of the parade.
That's right. Let's see what we have next. Oh, the spinners. And you mentioned the classic characters. And this is the area that reminds me mostly of the Main Street Electrical Parade, even more Spectro Magic, a parade we used to have here at Walt Disney World.
Well, kind of like with the turtle and everything.
Right.
And
well, the Spectro Men used to ride these things, but now they're the classic Goofy, Donald, Minnie, and of course Mickey.
I don't remember as much light on the pavement the last time when it was at Disneyland. So I don't know if they've changed that or I just didn't notice it the first time. But we have, let's see, Donald Duck here. We have Minnie. And each whirling vehicle has 352 points of light, and it's custom designed for the character on board. Like here you see Minnie Mouse, and then you have kind of the red
Yeah, it's
dots.
almost like an extension of her dress. That's interesting. I never really thought of that before.
And the Mickey Mouse float is 31 feet long and has 10,000 points of light. Mickey is 12 feet above the ground.
Look at how close Mickey's hat is to the wires. That's what I was watching. He has to be very talented, the mouse there.
And the kinetic sculpture is always very interesting to me, and that's 14 feet tall and 7 feet wide.
I'm always mesmerized by that when it comes by. I mean, it's even more impressive in person. This whole parade is amazing.
It is. So if you've not been to Disneyland, I definitely recommend it this summer for PIXARFEST, for Paint the Night. I mean, they have dining packages. I don't know that I would recommend them because the menu is
Very
really limited, and it's kind
At
of
Carthay.
Yes, at Carthay. I love Carthay Circle too. We've done World of Color dining packages so many times, and I don't think it's quite as good a deal for that. And but you can go to Paradise Gardens and see if you can get a better spot. Go there maybe 45 minutes early, probably, and even an hour early just to make sure you have a spot, but it wasn't too bad.
So overall, I would say I highly recommend PixarFest, and it exceeded all my expectations.
I knew Paint the Night was coming back, and I knew I would love it. And there was a lot about PixarFest that I've really enjoyed, and I'm hoping that we get to see that again this summer.
And our coverage is not over. We will have more PixarFest goodness sprinkled into the next few shows.
And now we're heading back to Orlando. We actually came back a day early because we had been invited to Loews Portofino Bay Hotel for the evening for Flavor by Loews, and then also to try Harbor Nights, which we had never done before.
And I've been wanting to try Harbor Nights for a while, so very exciting to be able to do that.
And actually, the price for Harbor Nights is $55 for just the regular ticket without reserved, and that's actually a terrific deal, so we need to do that again. So anyway, Flavor by Loews is an initiative where you can eat local at several different Loews hotels. And like right here, we're seeing salmon from Webb's Honey and, Webb's Honey in Orlando. So we're just kind of, while we're talking, we're going to be seeing some of these items, and we'll see the signs for where they're served and what they are. If anybody ever reads kind of what I write online about food, I'm always very excited when local items are served somewhere where we go.
And speaking of local items, Crooked Can Brewery, which I am a big fan of. We first learned of them at a previous food event, and I've been a fan ever since.
Well, Crooked Can is only like 4 years old, I think. So they're so popular in the area now. and they're at Jake's.
Yes.
But they may be at other places too here. Jake's, and we're looking at, this is an Old Earth bread company, and we're looking at some chicken sliders. Old Earth is from Castleberry, which is very close, and we have also St. Augustine Distillery. We tried the Fountain of Youth drink.
Yeah, we needed that Fountain of Youth. I think we had about 3 of those each,
I had
we
like
haven't
3.
gotten any younger, I don't think.
But that was really good, and that's served here as well. I wrote an article online, and we'll link to that, just saying where everything can be found.
Oh boy, the gelato was phenomenal.
So Duomo Gelato is here in the gelateria, but you can find it elsewhere around the properties. And here is some of the different flavors. They have 50 plus different flavors.
And I didn't discover this on my own, but a gentleman in front of me asked for a selection of gelato, so I went with the mix, and there's 3 different flavors, all awesome.
I like gelato, and to have so many different ones. I don't think we've been to the gelateria, so we definitely need to check that out.
So we were nice and full after that wonderful preview.
We were full. The food was so good.
And here's the main event now. This is something neither of us have ever seen before. And boy, what a nice event. Very, very relaxing time and evening out there.
Well, Harbor Nights is at Portofino Bay. And I'm just going to say I didn't eat very much because the other event was so fantastic. And I tried to pace myself, but I guess
Food before food, always a good idea.
Yes, I don't think I paced myself that well. So Harbor Nights is 4 to 5 times per year. And they have a small, I don't want to say a small selection, but maybe like 6 or 7 at least different food items, really good food items from the different restaurants. And then also a decent selection of wines. And I think you said Peroni beer also was here. So for the $55 ticket or $90 for reserved seating, you get several hours here, and it was just a lovely experience.
And here we're going to take a look at some of the reserved seating bonus items, like this cheese platter with some vegetables and some champagne, and anything. If you wanted a certain wine, they'll bring you a bottle of that. All that is included in the reserved seating section.
They have the past hors d'oeuvres, which they don't have, I guess, in the regular area. And I asked them, is this what this would be like normally for somebody who's doing the reserve seating? And they said yes. And this is the menu of different items, like the grilled marinated flat iron steak was so good.
Oh, the sea bass was excellent, by the way. Again, we were both very full, but we had to, push it to make sure you tasted some of these wonderful items.
I tried the flat iron steak. I definitely would want to go back and it's a very reasonable cost for the evening out, and I did have a cannoli.
Of course.
Even after
we
the
shared
gelato.
the cannoli and all.
No, I don't think so. I didn't.
I tried to give you an out. And there was entertainment.
Yes, there was. You had a band here for much of the night, although we were a little further from them. But there's also an opera singer, and then there was a group of opera singers at the end of the evening.
At the very end, that's correct.
So it was nice. It was kind of a mix of different styles as far as the music.
Well, it fit the setting perfectly. Very classy, all in Italian. He would sing, of course, the opera singer.
And I just want to mention this is for 21 and up only, so it's not only adults, but it's over 21.
Well, I had a great time, and I would certainly be up for it again.
I would like to do it again. And also, I just want to mention, if you've not been to Universal Orlando anytime recently, it has been a vacation destination, but I think in a few years you're looking at 7 or 8 hotels over here from Loews. They already have, you have the first 3, which were here, including Portofino Bay, and then Sapphire Falls just opened recently. Aventura is coming this summer, and then I think there's at least 2 more in the pipeline that are maybe even started to be built. So we're looking at a lot of hotels here, a lot of wonderful hotels, and Universal is definitely a destination in its own right as well.
Absolutely. I think it's time we get over there and do a little more exploring.
Well, we should with Sapphire Falls and then Aventura, which will be, I think that's August. I don't have that in front of me, so really soon.
I look forward to that, and plus it'll be walking distance to the Voodoo Donuts. So when we get our giant coffin filled with donuts to schlep back to the car for research purposes, we'll be close.
Well, we don't need 30 donuts. But I want to get
of
to
all
Voodoo.
People, you're saying we don't need 30 donuts?
No, I would like to have like 1 donut. I would like to try 1 or 2 donuts at Voodoo Donut. We have not been over there yet, and I really want to get over there. Everybody seems to love it.
All right. Well, we'll check it out for sure.
And I just want to thank Loews for inviting us to this really nice event, and it was definitely worth heading back a day early for.
Oh, I totally agree, and that's saying a lot to leave Disneyland early.
Yes.
And next up is a trip to Epcot. Actually, 2 trips to Epcot because we hadn't been in over a week when we were at Disneyland.
Well, it was probably a couple weeks before we got back here. And with the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival ending very soon, I think it's May 28th is the last day. So we've really only got a few more weeks of it. And I love the Flower and Garden Festival. So we're probably going to go quite a bit in the before Paris.
Right, and as we were walking around, we discovered a few new little additions from the last time we were there. At least you discovered these additions.
Well, I like to go into the shops and see what's new. Like this last time we found Italy merchandise, which we're not talking about today. But you can see here that they are celebrating the royal wedding coming up of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And actually, this particular mug, I didn't realize was them at first because they've had similar ones for at least 1 or 2 other occasions. But there's actually quite a variety. I don't remember when Prince William got married to Kate Middleton. I don't remember so many items, or when the Queen turned 90.
We were in attendance at that last royal wedding.
Not the wedding. We were at the Grand Floridian. They did a big thing, like I won't say overnight, but it was really early.
Yeah, like 4 a.m. I think we had to get
that.
there at the wedding pavilion, and this was before they had the DVC, the Grand Floridian bonus building there. So it was very, very nice, right on the beach.
It was actually really nice, and here we have. This has nothing to do with the royal wedding, but Uncle Joe's mint balls
keeps you all aglow. Yes, you must have that when you're making your royal wedding purchases.
No, we have bought them at Publix when they've had them and such, and probably from here as well. But they are actually pretty good and they're funny. So anyway, here is more royal wedding merchandise. This is the least expensive item. It was like $6.95 for a magnet. There's a lot of gold here. It's
yes.
Gold, gold, gold. And we will be in London just a few days after they get married.
Well, I should mention that the magnets are found at the register, so I just brought them over there for the video purposes.
Oh, did you? I didn't even realize
they were really
that.
at the register.
Okay, I didn't know
So
that.
now we're going to take a look at France, the France Pavilion, and you can see the Skyliner going in there, and there's one of the supports for the wire.
It's like the towers, and there's so many of them up everywhere, and we've talked about them before. We're not showing too much this week. It's not like every week we're going to show you more towers around.
Yes, we don't want to bore
property.
people with too much. But the purpose of this really is to show the construction building for the Ratatouille. Yeah, and we will be at the real Ratatouille. I think you mentioned about our big trip coming up. But here's some concept art of what that's going to look like. And maybe they're going to move the Eiffel Tower from looking at this concept art. I'm not exactly sure, but it's certainly a possibility.
You know what I don't see there is a Skyliner tower, so who knows?
Yes, no Skyliner tower in the concept art. That's very true.
When you head over to the other side of World Showcase Lagoon, I mean, you can see it kind of behind Morocco is where you're going to see the building of Ratatouille. I am really looking forward to this. There's a lot coming to the parks. You have Tron, you have the Ratatouille ride. We're going to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, and then some other items.
Speaking of things coming to the parks, we also have this private club here. It's Club 33. We already talked about the Club 33 that recently opened at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and now we find out that Epcot has now opened their Club 33, and that is at the American Adventure up in the former... it used to be like a lounge they would have for the seasonal events, the Chase Lounge.
Well, they used it as a Chase Lounge, but before that it was a corporate lounge. And now it's somewhere we can't go.
That's right. It will never be there, but if we were, you could look out these windows up here and have a great view of World Showcase Lagoon and the Spaceship Earth.
It was a really terrific location for the Chase Visa Lounge, and so I'm sure the Club 33 members are enjoying that.
Well, you never know. Maybe we'll get up there someday for a tour or something. So anyway, and here is the former Wonders of Life, and they're doing a lot of work on the roof there to really bring it up to standards. We're not quite sure what's going in there yet, but it's good to see them fixing it up by
Not quite sure. We totally don't know. So
Nobody
we'll see.
knows.
Nobody knows.
Well, maybe somebody.
Anyway, so Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster was announced last year at D23, and we have now artwork just saying a whole new galaxy is coming to Epcot. This is on the walls around the Universe of Energy, the former Universe of Energy. It closed last year.
Well, this reminds me of the Festival of the Arts, because we found ourselves in this location many times when they would put up the murals that people would paint. So it's nice to see them using the walls again, although it's only advertising what is being built. And I guess what's being built won't be done until 2021.
Right, and I don't think we expected it a lot earlier than that, but it does say 21 on the signs. Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary is in 2021, so that's about when we're looking at this opening, and even the Disney Parks blog said it should be ready just in time for that. So we're looking at about a 3-year process on this coaster, which isn't surprising.
Right, and I'm showing these also to read them, of course, but you see the little 21 in the corner, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
And I just want to mention, by not surprising, like the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train took several years, at least like 3 years. And this is supposed to be like one of the world's longest indoor coasters when done, a family coaster, although not everybody can ride it. So it should be a fun coaster, and then again we'll have Ratatouille as well in the park.
And you'll have characters. Look at this. No line. You could go right up to Gamora. There is Mr. Tall Groot, Rocket. I love it how it's just the roaming characters outside, so that'll be fun to experience.
You know, I'm not sure about the no line. I'm sure there'll be a line. Just like
I didn't see a line in that artwork.
At Disney California Adventure, Groot always has, not a long line. He never has like 1 million people, but he has just enough where you can get in line and usually see him during his set.
Well, anyway, that's a very exciting development, and believe it or not, that is another show.
That's another show. Thanks to our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. The owner, Becky, is over at Disneyland right now. She had a really great view of the Incredicoaster as it is probably being tested as she's in a room.
Currently testing. Very exciting.
So, she's there. I think she's at Disneyland more than we are.
Well, she came right from Florida directly to Disneyland. I don't know if you saw that. So that's the way to go.
She travels all over, so they really do get... they do really great work because they do travel and they do go to all the resorts and all of the parks. So I can't wait to see she just got there, so I can't wait to see the rest of what she posts.
Well, speaking of Disneyland, next week we're going to talk a little bit more about Disneyland and PIXARCFEST, and we're also going to review the Cove Bar, which is closing very, very soon.
Right, and that is on what will be Pixar Pier. The Cove Bar has become extremely popular. It was already popular, but now everybody's trying to go there before it becomes a lamplight lounge. So it will be Pixar themed, as everything else will be pretty soon.
Well, stay tuned. We're going to show you my delicious lobster nachos that we had there, and all sorts of other goodies.
And we'll have more Walt Disney World as well for next week.
So anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.